Hello all, welcome back to another video. Me and my friend Sunny are discussing how it feels like to study abroad in this video. It is intended to offer key insights to the viewers. Sunny is studying MBA at UNO. She has a lot more to offer than just study abroad tips, so make sure you tune into this.
So my name is Sunny Nakada. I go by Sunny. It's my nickname. My actual Japanese name is Haruka. It means sunny. That's why I go by Sunny. I'm from Tokyo, Japan, and I came to the United States 2015. So it's been a bit longer than what you would expect. And currently I am studying a Master of Business and Administration. I'm starting this fall, so I'm pretty excited about that. And then I'll be concentrating on human resource management. It's not my first study abroad to University of Nebraska at Omaha, actually. I was an exchange student in high school back in 2013 to 14. It was a year exchange program. And I was in high school. So I was, I think, 16 years old back then. And I decided to study abroad in high school to Michigan. That time I injured my ankle and then I missed a couple tournaments. And that was really big for me. And then I was very discouraged. So I decided that, I would rather pursue my um, dream to go to somewhere else to study. I actually registered for an organization called EF. I think it's pretty famous. It's our organization. You pay a certain amount of money, they place you to a host family. So I was with a host family in Michigan. They were very lovely people, and so I still keep in touch with them. So I made it to the team, and I was able to play basketball with my American teammates, which was really cool. That's how I actually made friends. Till then, I really did not have any friends, so that was kind of lonely. And during that time, I'm an athletics trainer at the high school. She helped me get through some, ankle injuries that I already had, and she taped my ankle and stuff like that. And as well as she helped me communicate with my teammates. She was more patient and she was very encouraging. So that's when I decided, oh, I want to do this job. I want to become an athletics trainer. I mean, it was nice when I was a 16 to go to a host family instead of living alone or in a dome or whatever, because that was somebody's roof. And I actually got to know my host family before coming here to Michigan. I mean, not really like get to know no, because I didn't really speak English well, but they set up Skype meetings, like before, like maybe 3 months 4 months before coming to Michigan. So I knew how they look, how they speak and stuff like that, and then they got to know me a little bit more. And so that was very nice. My parents felt a little bit more safe in a way, I think. So for them to send their daughter, I think it was a really nice setting that I had, for sure. So again, I was in the organization, and then they had, certain universities that they had connections with. So those being the one in Lincoln, University of Nebraska, Lincoln, one in Kearney as well as like University of Alabama, Arkansas, things like that. Little bit more countryside, I would say, those states that are a little bit more low cost living. Um, and I was actually admitted to University of Nebraska at Kearney, which is a little bit smaller university and a little bit smaller town, I would say, and it was a little bit cheaper as well. But I decided to look up where that was, and I didn't know where Nebraska was either back then. And I found out that it was quite smaller town, the Kearney, and I was like, that's not something that I would really want to do, like small town living. So I was like, you know what? I'll try to look into University of Nebraska at Omaha and as well as Lincoln. UNO also has an athletic training program as well. So it was perfect for me. And then the size of the town looks like, it's not too big, but it's not too small. So I really appreciate that as well, just because I'm from right outside of Tokyo. So I was used to like a city life as well. So choosing university wise, I think like countryside universities like in Nebraska, those states that are not as popular might not seem too attractive, but if you really want to focus on your degree or study, then it's just perfect. There's not too many distractions, I would say. Like if you went to Florida, then there would be parties every night, every weekend. You could go to beach all the time, things like that. So I guess it's pretty healthy for you to stay in Nebraska and then focus on studying for sure. Yeah, I wish I knew how to type things, like starting with, oh, dear, hello, Miss whatever, Mr. whatever, Doctor whatever, things like that. Yeah, and then referring professors as either Mr., Miss, or Doctor. Some people prefer that. Knowing about those, I did not know about that kind of stuff. So, and then last names are so difficult here. So it's hard to pronounce. And I didn't know how to pronounce like professors' last names. And I was just like, sir, sir. So yeah, that was something that I was like, was kind of awkward first. Yeah, and then knowing the college system, I think that was one of the challenges I had. Because when you go to college or university, you are assigned to advisors depending on your major, and then they help you decide what classes you're taking during one semester and the next semester and stuff like that to plan ahead. But it depends on the advisor. Like you may get messed up, or you may be on a good track to graduate in 4 years. Sometimes some advisors do not do well with like you taking classes in this major but you want to minor in something else in different department, then you would have to go to the other department to have another advisor over there to be able to take certain classes. Like asking a lot of questions, making sure that you're on the right track, I think would be very important. And in the States, I think you being passive does not really help. So actively seeking for help, I think it would be a key to succeed. Yes. So like I mentioned, my high school in Japan focused on English, but did not mean that my English was perfect. I thought my English was very good when I was in high school back in 2013. But when I came here, I was just shocked. Like my pride was just gone. I was like, why did I think my English was so good? My English is so bad. Nobody understands me. So I think a lot of Eastern Asian countries, I think, have some difficulties with English. A lot of people do well with the grammars, writing, and stuff like that. But a lot of times, students don't get as much of an opportunity to speak or listen. So, they come with thick accent or their like flow is not there. So they are very choppy, I guess. So just speaking and listening, I think does a lot to you. So listening to music or listening to movies and stuff like that. So yeah, I think if you are preparing to go to university, you know that you want to do some sort of specific field, then I would highly recommend to maybe look up some words in English and stuff like that to kind of expand your vocabulary, I think. A lot of people do not look for money to come here and then work a job and then trying to send money over to Japan or anything, because it's about the same anyways. But it's very common to study abroad, especially in university, I think. A lot of people do take a year or a semester off to go to different countries, maybe travel around as well. And I think for people to either study abroad in high school or go to 4 year study abroad for university, I think are a little bit more rare. than going for just 1 year exchange student. So yeah, but a lot of people think Western cultures are cool. A lot of people in Japan think, American people are all like blonde and blue eyes and pretty and stuff like that. So they all, always want to go to Western countries such as America, Canada, maybe things like that. Maybe Europe as well. Omaha has pretty big diversity and also a lot of restaurants from different cultures. So favorite thing, I think it's similar to you, interacting with people from different cultures. Internationally, I met you from India. I have some friends from different parts of countries, like any continent pretty much. I would say I had a lot of friends from Brazil, Saudi Arabia, Oman, to Mexico, and then Colombia, Salvador, and things like that. So that was always super duper cool. I didn't really have a lot of encounters with people from Europe. Yeah, especially like knowing about people from different parts and about their religions, cultures, traditions, and stuff like that. And that sometimes is super eye-opening. Sometimes could be like a little bit crazy. Some cultures from your stories are like, really? But it's about your culture, and then that's how you do things in your country. So that's something that I learned and to respect. I do completely agree with you for living my life for my own, not trying to live up for somebody else's expectations, especially like my parents and things like that. um because what I found out during these years is that it's never going to be enough, like for my parents, what they expect me to do, if I have all A's in a semester, with 4.0 GPA, but they wouldn't say anything, they wouldn't compliment or anything like that. They're just like, oh, cool. And, they would find something higher for me to achieve. And that's very tiring for me. So, I think I'll, try to do things I truly enjoy and truly like and stuff like that for my own. Because I only live, 80 years? I don't have a lot of time anymore, So I'd rather do things I enjoy and I really like. Things being like piercings. I have a nose piercing, and that's not very common in Japan, but I like it, so I do it. You know, having my hair the way I want, or I dress as the way I want, my shape of my body the way I want, and things like that. Those things could be very could have affected by society and then how people view things back home. But here in the States, I think a lot of people are very different, so it's hard to have one standard. This experience has gotten me stronger for sure. If you tell me whatever, I wouldn't really care. It's like whatever. It's your opinion. It's not gonna affect me and stuff like that. I didn't have that attitude when I was in Japan, that's for sure. And one more thing that I would like to ask is, do you have any motto or any quote that you like to hold on to all the time, like your life, how you want to live your life, kind of?
Yes, absolutely. I do have one quote. The quote is "Be a light unto yourself."
Hmm?
Uh, it's by Gautama the Buddha. Means you gotta show your own path. You gotta choose your own path. You gotta give yourself a direction. Nobody else is gonna give it to you because you're not the same person. How about you? What is your favorite quote?
So it's a saying in Japanese. It said "Shoshin kantetsu." That means the beginning mindset, never forget, complete. So whenever you start something, always finish. Whatever the definition for you to finish, right? Like it doesn't matter if you actually finish. It could be something for you to change your path or whatever. But if your definition of that is that, then that's perfect. But my dad always told me, if you start something, always complete, because that's how life works. So I was like, okay, I do. So, if I decide to do something, I always that's my decision and that's my responsibility. So I will never throw it away or like try to not do it. So whatever the definition of finish at that point of my life, I will always finish. So yeah, that's something I really live up to, I think.
That is great. I like the saying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for joining the conversations again.
Yes, Shivam, I forgot how much I love our conversation. It's always so fun. I hope you like it. Make sure you check out Sunny Days in the USA podcast by Sunny. I will leave a link in the description. Let me know what questions you would like me to ask the future collaborators. And until then, see you in the next one.